Hi, this is Eric Metcalf, and you're watching The Unhappy Hour.
The Unhappy Hour on TheNewAmericanMedia.com.
All right. So we are back here on The Unhappy Hour. My name is Brian Engelman, and I wanted to cover this story. This special thanks to Zach Barris for joining us to discuss Kevin Love's $120 million extension. So now he is locked up for 5 years on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Big move. It's something that you cannot discount. The fact that Kevin Love re-signed. It's another superstar that decided to re-sign with Cleveland. It's Kyrie Irving. This is LeBron James decided to come back, and now Kevin Love re-signed. So there's something really good that can be said about the culture for the Cleveland Cavaliers right now. But shifting gears real quick, I want to talk about Josh Gordon for a second. Josh Gordon had a self-reported instance yesterday. It broke that he will not be attending the opening of training camp. So Josh Gordon, this is something that in our sports group, the Unhappy Hour Sports Show support group, it's something that we were very concerned about when the story broke. We were very worried because we've been burned by Josh Gordon before, much like he's burned NFL defenders. We've seen Josh Gordon flash brilliance and then just absolutely leave us disappointed, frustrated, sad, and frankly feeling a little foolish that we had faith in him in the first place. He obviously broke out on the scene a couple years ago and led the NFL. He did things as an NFL wide receiver that nobody had ever seen before. Literally breaking records, back-to-back weeks of 200-plus receiving yards, leading the NFL in receptions. Just, it's something you had, and this was with Brian Hoyer at quarterback. So with all of this happening, when it came out that Josh Gordon was going to take time away from the Cleveland Browns, it's something that really had a lot of fans worried. Josh Gordon decided that he was going to seek counseling instead of joining the team. Now, one of the first things that came to my mind when this story broke was that this is probably related to HBO's Hard Knocks series. Now, that may or may not be true, but it was the first glimmer of hope that I had that I wasn't going to be let down by this guy who had actually failed a urine test. And this was some sort of way that maybe the team noticed something before the league was able to, so they were going to hide him in a treatment facility, but call it something else. And it's a little convoluted. It's a little strange how the NFL personal player conduct policy and the doping, the anti-doping policies, how these all put themselves together, how they manifest, and where there's overlap, underlap, and gray area in that process. But I wanted to kind of read you. Here we go. Trying to pull this up here. What Josh Gordon, if it'll open. There we go. This is what Josh Gordon had to say yesterday on social media. He said, to my Cleveland Browns and my NFL family, I am reaching out to you all personally and letting you know that I'm not only great physically, but mentally as well. You will notice that I will not be in Cleveland for the start of training camp. Rest assured, this too is a part of my overall health and treatment plan. I appreciate the awesome support I've received from teammates, friends, fans, and the Browns organization. Just like you, I'm excited to start the season, and I have every intention of being ready and available to join my teammates soon to help bring winning football to our fans. With the help of the NFL, the NFLPA, and the Browns organization, I've been able to utilize the resources available to me that will ensure my well-being on and off the field. By continuing to follow the plan set up by our medical director and his team in taking this time before the season starts, we believe it will help me maintain the progress I've made for not only today, but for many years to come. Thank you all for your patience, love, and support. Go Browns. Sincerely, Josh Gordon. So when this happened, you got worried. People definitely got worried that this was going to be a situation where he self-reported. And look, I don't know exactly how this situation is going to play itself out. Josh Gordon is a wide receiver with the Cleveland Browns who has one of the most unique skill sets that many of us have ever seen in the NFL. His size, his stature. When he catches the ball, I was watching a highlight reel of Josh Gordon and all of his professional touchdowns in his career. When he catches the ball, he outruns the other people chasing him most of the time. He embarrasses people, and he's still young. He's still a young man. So what my hope is for Josh Gordon, obviously, look, I'm a guy that believed in Josh Gordon enough that I traded for him in my fantasy football dynasty league. I have faith that Josh Gordon is going to be able to turn his life around, but he's always turned to drugs and alcohol in his life to cope with stress, with anxiety. He used to drink before games. How do you drink before games for an athletic competition, for an athletic match, for a football game? Drinking? Some people might even understand smoking a joint or a bowl or something, but drinking alcohol before a... Look, he's a player who obviously had issues surrounding him. He was dealing drugs in college. And as society changes and morphs into, a culture that isn't so high-strung on marijuana usage or consumption, and a place that, we tried prohibition and that didn't work. That was scrapped almost immediately. Put an amendment in the Constitution for prohibition, and then had to do one to undo the mistake that was made with the amendment to the Constitution because of prohibition. It doesn't work. I think when you're in a competition, when you're in a sport, when you're competing against other people, there is some sort of understanding for competitive balance. The things such as HGH and steroids, that these things should be prohibited from the players because it provides an unfair advantage from one player to the next player. You saw it in baseball in the late 90s. The Mark McGwire, the Barry Bonds, all these players that were using. Their heads were growing gargantuan and their arms were out to here. It's an unfair advantage. But when it comes to things like alcohol and marijuana, you don't normally think of those types of drugs as being something that's going to be performance enhancing. And you go, well, if this isn't performance enhancing, why is it banned? It doesn't logistically make a lot of sense. It should rationally make sense that you should self-ban, that you shouldn't participate in things like that. But do they ban cigarettes? Cigarettes are not performance enhancing, and that would be a detriment. But if a player wanted to smoke, why would that... Chewing tobacco... At what degree do you take non-performance enhancing drugs that, if anything, may decrease your ability to compete at the highest level? For what reason are we getting involved in those types of things? Steroids, HGH, I get all that stuff. But Josh Gordon, to repeat, he's taking some time off. He's trying to get his mental health, his anxiety in line with his physical health. All you had to do is follow him on social media a little bit to see that he's kept his physical health where it needs to be, top-notch, tip-top shape. But this will give people like Antonio Callaway a little bit of a chance to step up, step in, provided he's healthy again. The new Browns rookie out of Florida. Once again, another talented receiver with questionable decision-making skills, getting in some trouble himself. It's not what I wanted to see from the Cleveland Browns. And I wanted Tyrod Taylor to get more opportunities throwing deep and building a chemistry with Josh Gordon. I think Josh Gordon has proven at this point that he's the type of player that can kind of thrive in any sort of quarterback situation. Just chuck it up there and he's going to go up and get it. But I think the quarterback, in this case Tyrod Taylor and Baker Mayfield, because who knows, you're one injury away from going to the rookie. Let's just be honest here. I was really hoping to get that chemistry together from the players. But, it's not a perfect situation. but I was really, I just got to say, I was really nervous yesterday hearing the news out of Berea that Josh Gordon wasn't going to be with the team for a little bit. I thought the worst. I was very worried that this meant Josh Gordon had sabotaged yet his latest comeback attempt. And luckily, at least for now, luckily it seems like Josh was starting to feel overwhelmed. He was starting to feel stressed. He was starting to feel anxious. And normally, he would self-medicate. And in this case, he's learning, perhaps for the first time in his adult life, how to deal with life without clouding his brain with mind-altering substances. So, continued support, continued prayers, continued hope, continued optimism for Josh Gordon from me. Until I see otherwise, he's my starting wide receiver in my fantasy football dynasty league. Prove me wrong. No, don't prove me wrong, because I need you to start. But I did have faith, and I'm going to continue to have the faith. I still say the Browns go 10-6 this season and make the playoffs. That's my prediction. Go ahead and leave your prediction in the comments over here. This is Facebook. If you're not in this group, well, if you're not in this group, you're probably not watching. If you're in here, it's youtube.com/TheNewAmericanMedia. We have a group over here on this camera called The Unhappy Hour Sports Show, a support group. You can join. It's a private group, just Indians, Cavs, Browns, Buckeyes, Blue Jackets. Be a fan of something? Come on in. If you're already in here, invite your fans. Invite your friends that are fans of your favorite teams. It's a great place. It's breaking news. It's humor. It's good conversation. It's a lot of great banter. It's way better than the crap that I was finding online and on cable. So thank you all to everybody who's in this group, and thank you to watching over here. Special thanks to Zach Barris for joining us today talking Cleveland Cavaliers with the breaking news that Kevin Love has re-signed with the Cleveland Cavaliers for a 4-year, $120 million extension. And that's all I got for you right now. I'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Peace.